Recorded. This is the Red Ticket Blues Podcast. I am Brian Buckley. This is being recorded on April 27th to hit the internets on April 28th. How's everybody doing? Are you new to the podcast? Well, you've missed a ton. I mean, we've had podcasts we've had interviews with Neil Best, Phil Mushnick, Jeff Pearlman, Greg Doyle, Katie Baker, Steve Summers. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them if you haven't heard them. I just felt that I'd throw that out there for the new people. You can listen to all these shows on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and YouTube. And you can follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. So this is the Thursday Talk episode of the weekly Thursday Talk episode. And we went a different direction this week. We did not get a sports media guest. No, not at all. He's not a sports media guest. But I think after 70 years on this planet, I think he's earned the right to be on the Red Ticket Blues podcast. That's my father. Very interesting conversation with a very interesting man. And go through just some random stories throughout the crazy life of Ken Buckley. So I'm not going to give any spoilers away. So let's hear what the man has to say. All right. So I was lucky enough. I talked to his people. He talked to my people. It was very difficult to get him on, but I was able to do it. And that's my father. Hello, Ken. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Brian. Son. How are you today?
I'm doing great. So you just turned 70 years old last week.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Did you think you'd last this long?
No, not the way I lived my life. It was, to quote Mickey Mantle, if I knew I was going to make it this far,
yeah.
I wouldn't have done what I did.
Let's see. So the first thing, there were two questions from Twitter. I told you one of them before the podcast. I wish I had told you, but wish I would have done it live here. So I told people I was going to have you on the podcast. And one of the questions somebody said was, is he coming out? So are you coming out?
No, I'm going to stay in the closet.
Okay.
I figure I've been there all my life. I'm going to stay there. I'm just joking. No, I'm not coming out.
And the other one was a few years ago. Now, you're on Twitter. I think you had 3 tweets. One of them was, pick your profile. Everyone profiles you.
Hopefully right. You got that.
Another one was, I think, a passive-aggressive tweet at one of the FanDuel experts.
Right.
And
they gave me the wrong information.
Didn't win, meaning.
Right.
And the last one was something about how Hillary was somebody that we, wasn't a great choice, but it was the best choice at the time. So I got to look. I see the people that you follow, and you followed CC Sabathia before your own son.
I followed. Oh.
You want to explain yourself?
Oh, hey, wait a minute. I thought I followed you.
Well, you did, but you first chose the Yankees, then CC, then me.
Well, I was just starting off.
So what's he have on me?
Well, he has about 100 pounds.
So let's we'll get into those terrible Yankees because you're an eternal optimist. You think they're still going to make the playoffs, right?
I never give up until...
That's a lie.
Well, no, I never give up until July.
You don't give up until July.
Right.
Okay.
I talk very negative that like now they suck now.
Yes,
I mean, they're just horrible.
How about Chase Headley?
Chase Headley, I haven't really been following, but he can't hit.
No, he can't field either.
He's still. I knew last year.
Last year he was awful.
Last year he was throwing it all over.
I think he had a few errors this year, but
I know I'm listening. I have been listening to it more than I've been watching it because I've been scraping my deck.
So you actually don't even you have DirecTV, so you have access to the Yankees, and you're choosing not to watch them.
That's true.
Wow.
Because they're not that interesting, and I'm beginning to like John Sterling more than Michael Kay.
Yeah, I think
I do like Paul O'Neill better,
right? Because a lot of times he makes fun of Michael Kay, so that's always good.
But it's been a couple nice days, and so I was outside, and as I said, I was working on the deck and just getting sick listening to them rack up all those big 1 and 2 run games.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. So we talked about you are 70 years old, and you grew up where?
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Now, Bridgeport is widely known as a dump.
Bridgeport is when I was there.
That was going to be my next question. Was it a dump when you were growing up?
It probably was, but I didn't know any better.
Okay.
But I'll have to say the first I lived there. First 18 years of my life, it wasn't bad. I thought that's the way everybody lived. We lived in a neighborhood,
right?
Which we don't here.
That's true.
And our house here is, we have some neighbors, but it's not like when I was a kid, we'd sit on the porch in the summers and people would be walking by and they'd stop on the porch, sit down, they'd have a beer, and they'd talk about the other neighbors. Everybody would talk about each other.
Right, talking shit.
Yeah,
right.
So that was the good part. Once I got to high school, it was a little different, though.
Right. So
that's when I saw kind of the not so nice.
So I remember you were telling me a story. This is actually a few months ago about in high school. It was your first. Was it your first day?
My first day
in public school.
First day in public school. I spent 8 years in Catholic school.
Right. How was that?
That was terror.
Okay.
It was terror. It was. I think that was the beginning of ISIS.
Right. Wow. They started that early.
That's what it felt like.
Right.
I used to go there every day and just be terrorized. There was, I remember in my fourth grade, there'd be a session during the week where you'd have to put your hands on the desk because they wanted to see if your fingernails were clean, and if they weren't, they'd smack it with a ruler.
Nice.
It's a Catholic school.
Right,
so.
right.
And so I thought I'd be smart, and what I did is I bandaged them up. It's that I got hurt, and he smacked me across the face, saying I'm a liar.
Wow. Wow.
I don't want to mention that nun's name, but boy, she was.
Well, she's probably dead.
She's
definitely dead.
She's not in heaven.
So tell us about that first day in public school.
First day in public schools, I went there.
In Warren G. Harding High School in
Warren G.
Bridgeport?
Harding High School, Bridgeport, Connecticut, September 1960.
All right.
I walked in there fresh out of Catholic school, and I walked in there, and I went from a school. It was a Catholic school. I went to a inner city school,
right.
2,000 people.
Right.
And my first class I went into was an English class, and Miss Houlihan was the teacher.
Right.
I know she's dead now, so I won't have any problem. But she was, she just told everybody to sit down, and then she looked on her desk, and there was a dead mouse. And everybody started laughing and throwing things at her. And she went and stepped out on the ledge, saying she was going to jump if they didn't stop. And everybody told her, jump, jump, jump. And I was sat there scared as can be. I didn't know what was going on.
That was your first day.
My first day, first class. My first day, last class.
Oh, what are you popular?
It's your mother's.
In the other room.
And the last class, just getting ready to get out, and the cops come in, and they arrest this kid for murder. He had a cape on.
Well, like Larry David?
Yeah, something like that. And they pulled him out, and I know I wanted to say, I don't want to come back here again, because I had to walk home. Because this was, it was at 5 o'clock.
Before buses?
Well, the way the buses were, it didn't work out for me.
Right.
They just didn't situate where I lived, and we had a triple session. So as a freshman, you used to go to school from 12:30 to 4:30.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
Yeah, it was a little strange, and so I had to walk home. And I remember saying to myself, "I made a mistake. I should have went to the Catholic high school."
So let's go back a little bit now. Now you were a Little League superstar, correct?
Superstar may be exaggerating a bit. I wasn't bad.
Right.
I wasn't bad.
You had one terrible year, though.
No, that wasn't my Little League.
Oh, no, okay. Well, let's go back to that at least then. Was that
My
T-ball?
Little League, no, there wasn't a T-ball.
No, that's that participation trophy bullshit.
When we played, you won or lost.
Right.
And you wanted to win. There was no tie scores.
Right.
But this was...
Sound like Donald Trump right now. Screw that. Tie crap.
We went to... we were actually... First two teams I played on...
Just don't talk this way. Talk.
First two teams I played on, my farm team, we're undefeated.
Wow.
And the second one was okay. Then the third one, we won the championship. That was my last championship.
Yeah.
And I thought they were coming along all the time.
Right.
You know, and I said, that was the last one I ever won. But I wasn't bad. I was like you, I was an alternate for the All-Stars.
That's right. I mean, thanks for bringing that up. Christ almighty. No, but in 1 year you struck out?
No, that was for my grammar school team.
Oh, it was grammar school. We're going way
Yes.
back.
It was so crummy that I was first string, but I struck out at every at-bat.
The whole year.
The whole year. I couldn't even get a walk.
No, I mean, I realize we're not WFAN breaking down the lineups and everything. Was there ever any decision from the coach to be like, this kid kind of sucks. Maybe he shouldn't play?
Probably no, because there was no alternative. There was nobody on the bench.
Well, that's an issue. So you're going to play.
Yeah, there was. I can't remember. There wasn't any. I remember one kid. This was so bad. He was. I won't mention his name because he could still be alive. He's 70 years old.
He could be a subscriber to the podcast because
true.
most people are.
But he was a fat kid. He was a very fat kid, and he was just so fat.
If he was that fat then, he's probably dead now.
Yeah, but he was so fat,
God
and
rest
he
his
was
soul.
a catcher.
Right. Well, obviously.
And what had happened is bases were loaded. Somebody got a hit, and they threw the ball home, and he fell on his back. He couldn't get up. He was just like a turtle. Everybody around the bases.
Just laid there.
Yeah, he was laying there trying to get up, but I remember his name was Joey.
Oh, well, you're revealing too much already.
Well, I'm just Joey. There's a lot of Joeys. But it was unbelievable. We were all laughing. Because it didn't make a difference. We lost every game.
Right.
So it was one of those things.
So we already talked about the Yankees. We talked about your baseball history. Now, you live in Bridgeport. You're close to the Yankees. And tell me about your first game. Your father promised you to go to your first game at Yankee Stadium, correct?
Yeah. Well,
tell us about that.
It was more of a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a Saturday morning. I'm getting up, doing a regular thing. Saturday goes, hey, you want to go to Yankee Stadium? I said, yeah, I watch it on TV. Yeah, let's go. We're going. And I go, I'm all thrilled and everything. I got this little stupid glove that he bought me. He bought me
right, because they were going to ask you to play.
Well, no, he brought me. You go bring your glove to the game.
I know.
And the glove he bought me, he got it from Popsicle Wrappers. It looked like the gloves you see on your Babe Ruth back in those days.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's driving me down there, and all of a sudden, it drives me up to this bus. It was.
I'll keep going. My computer's just making noises. Piece of shit.
It was the police athletic league called PAL, and I said, "We're going on the bus." He goes, "No, you're going." So he puts me on the bus. He says, well, I'll pick you up after the games. I'm looking at it. I say, I can't believe this.
So did other fathers go with...
Yeah. He was a funny guy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think he must have spent his time at one of the local bars.
Right,
But he did pick me up, and I know my mother yelled at him and all
right.
that. And say, you let the kid go to a game and you're sitting there. He goes, well, there just wasn't room. And it was a good game. It was.
Right.
We were in the usual seats that I've had. Last row.
Yeah. We've been there plenty of times. We're up so high where it gets too windy, and not windy in your front, windy in your back.
You're right. This is old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And, I remember, but I was thrilled just the same, just walking in there. Mickey Mantle was playing, Hank Bauer, Yogi Berra. The Yankees won that game too.
Now tell me, they've won a lot of them back then. But tell me, you've also said before that, now you have to pay $15 a beer. Back then, you used to be able to bring your own beer in.
Well,
correct?
that's what my father told me.
Oh, okay. So you never saw that?
No, I never saw that.
My
brother told me.
So the game he went to without you, he used to see these.
He brought my brother and my cousin.
Okay.
And my other uncle, they went to the game.
Right.
And they used to drive there, and my brother talks about this. You've heard his stories. So
right.
He'll go on about it. But they went to one game, and they brought in a case of beer.
Nice.
And that's when you could do that. There was no problem. And they got drunk, and they were throwing things. This was probably, I guess it had to be back in the late 40s or early 50s.
Like, it kind of reminds me of some of those movies you see, like in Babe Ruth or Ty Cobb, and you see the people actually throwing shit at them. Throwing, and I was like, that's Hollywood crap.
See, I never saw that, but I did run on the field because that's when
the
games are over. You used to be able to just go out on the field.
Now
that's how you'd exit.
Now you can't even touch the field on a tour. No. You can't even touch the field on a tour. You have to walk around on the dirt. They have little things there. It's little, not velvet ropes, but, a fence there that doesn't let you go on there.
I remember sliding into second base in old Yankee Stadium right after the game.
Now look at it.
Yeah, I know. And the funny thing is, you would exit. This is how different it was then. You exit out of center field. They'd open the things and you go out. And then there's restaurants around there. And I was with my uncle and my aunt and my sister. And we're sitting at a restaurant, probably where Stan's is now. And the table next to us was Tony Kubek.
Right.
You know, just another a Yankee player, and he's just saving the same spaghetti. They weren't superstars then; they had jobs.
So you mean
on the off season,
right? Imagine going into a restaurant and Alex Rodriguez is just sitting there and he's all cordial to people.
Well, I would imagine.
Yeah, he probably would because that's how A-Rod operates. Not like I'm not going to look directly in the eye to you, something like that. So. All right, so you get through Bridgeport. I mean, we're just going over little elements of your life. I mean, you're getting out of high school right around the time that the Vietnam War is going on.
Right. Well, actually, when I got out of high school, my last year there, I wanted to join the not the National Guard, the Air Force.
Oh, really?
I wanted to be.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wanted to be a pilot.
Oh, okay.
This was before there was a shooting war.
Right. Shooting war, yeah. Those are a different story.
Yeah, and I went into the Air Force recruiter, and I wanted to be a pilot, and that's funny because I hate flying. Right. But at the time, I thought it was great. No, I thought it would be, be nice. Get some girlfriends.
Right.
They were far and few between.
Right.
So.
Well, they all are pilots, I guess, right?
Yeah, pilot. I just thought about it. And then he told me, he said, well, we're only taking, you have to go to college.
Right.
And all my years in high school, I didn't. College did not enter my mind.
Right.
I was
like Homer said, "Why do I need English for? I'm not going to England."
Out of my graduating class was 389.
Yeah.
I was 320th. At a 70.5 average.
That's actually not bad considering where you are in the bracketile. I would expected. That's not terrible, is what I should say.
There was no. My idea of high school was you had to go.
Right.
You got a diploma. It didn't make any difference what you learned.
Right.
You just went there, and it was you're a teenager, and you know what you have on your mind when you're a teenager. You're not thinking about work.
No. That was the last thing.
Trying to find a date.
Right. Date, drinking, drugs, things like that. Yeah.
Well, no, there weren't drugs then.
Okay.
It was drinking.
All right.
Date, drinking, and hanging out.
Right.
Actually, it was kind of funny because maybe I am coming out of the closet.
Oh,
I used to go on these dates.
Just guys.
No, I go on a date with the girls, and it's about 10:30, and I'd say, "Okay, I think it's time to go home. I'm going to meet my friends down at the local hangout.
Yeah,
it's called Briarwood Farms."
Oh God!
It was. I wanted to get back because
I want to go home early to hang out with the guys.
Enough's enough.
Yeah.
At that time, it was like you had to be polite.
Right.
Open the door for the girl. This was so it was so unlike me. I really burnt my butt.
Right,
I didn't want to do this. This was before things changed in the late '60s. We didn't have to do crap. That's why I liked it.
Yeah.
So when I got out, I did want to join. I thought it was good, and then things changed after that.
Right. So
shooting war.
Shooting war. So they came to your the military. I don't know. The selective service came to your house and said you've been drafted. Is that?
Well, they don't come. They send you a letter.
They send you a letter.
They sent me a letter to come down for my draft physical.
Right.
This was in October 1965.
Right.
I was in college, and just starting to go to college, you're starting to learn that maybe these wars aren't all they're cracked up to be. Especially because I was thinking, going to these guys are going to want to go fight and all that.
Shooting war.
Shooting war 20 years ago. I was saying at that time we hated Japan, and now we're friends with it. But now we're gonna. I said this could happen again, and I'm going to go get killed.
Right.
So I began to dislike a little bit, and then actually in 1960, I didn't. I passed my physical, but they told me that. I would probably be drafted in 2 months. Mm-hmm. And so I said, no, I won't. As soon as I get out of here, I'm going down to community college, which the first year was open, and get a draft affirmative.
So you dodged a draft?
Yeah.
So you're like Bill Clinton in that way?
Oh, just like.
Did you inhale? You inhaled?
I inhaled later, yeah. But at that time... that was really outrageous. If you went to college, you didn't have to go to war.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty insane.
Yeah. But I didn't feel bad. I didn't want to go. I had my friend, he was being drafted, and he drove all the way down to New York City to see a psychiatrist just have him state that he was nuts, so he wouldn't have to go in.
Did he have to go?
No, he didn't have to go.
Oh, nice.
As long as you knew the right people.
Right. Sounds, yeah, well, yeah, I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it. So you didn't go to war, and you sort of became a hippie. Is that correct?
I didn't become a real hippie.
You were just there for the party.
I was a hippie for the convenience.
Right.
It was
just to say you were part of something.
It was easier, like, since I never really liked dressing up, and I didn't like getting haircuts, and it was just an easier way to be. You know?
Right.
And then, it was my mother didn't like it.
No, I could imagine.
She was really. She said, "When are you going to cut that hair?" I said, "I don't feel like it." Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it was at that time. It was a crazy time. It really was. I was semi-hippie, because I kind of fell for some of this stuff. I remember getting involved in
Black Panthers.
Not quite, but we had go out on Friday nights. We went to this place. It was called Clyde's Place. It was near the University of Bridgeport. And at that time, I was still completely politically unaware, and it was like it was basically
sounds like a bastion of just rebellion.
It was when I look back on it now, it was some sort of a young communist group or something like that. Because, I didn't know about it. I was just going in there to meet some girls or something.
Yeah.
It was University of Bridgeport.
Some commies,
I was 20 years old, and this guy started talking about how the oppression of the black people, and that was the first time it came to my mind.
Yeah.
And he was right, but it was like, I never knew this stuff. I thought that's just the way it was. It was just completely politically
living in Bridgeport your whole life.
I know. Well, it was they're people I know.
Right.
I never thought of them. They're oppressed. I couldn't figure out why they didn't live in my neighborhood, but.
But that's I understand. You told me once that you were planning, or you had the opportunity. It looks like there were real plans to go to the famous Woodstock concert, and you just didn't go.
Well,
that seems almost like Leif Erikson coming here and being like, "Yeah, here's America." Yeah, I don't really care though.
I wasn't really. I was in the area. I was in Lake George, New York.
Okay.
And I had a friend who was going. Tom, you've met him.
Yes, I have met him.
He's
an interesting guy.
He's kind of a Renaissance man. And he was actually, she just tried a lot of things. But I was going out with a girl at the time, and she had a day off from work. And instead of going there, and plus it was going to rain.
Yeah, it did
rain.
rain.
The forecast, and I said, I don't know if I want to go there. And
there's a lot of mud and shit.
I'm glad I didn't go.
Yeah,
I like seeing the movie.
The movie's good enough for you.
Good enough, yeah.
Okay, so you're there. You mentioned you were going to school. You went to school in the University of Miami, just like A-Rod.
Just like
actually,
A-Rod.
no, A-Rod didn't go. He was going to go, but you probably went just a tad longer than A-Rod would have went, right?
Right. Yeah, I went one semester.
Nice. So you're a true and blue Hurricane.
Right. Well, I had we went. That was like the first year that the Hurricanes were getting some sort of prominence.
Right.
Because they were playing good schools, even though they ended up with a record that wasn't all that good. But I could go to the Orange Bowl every Friday night, and they were in town for $1.
Right.
Yeah, they got to see
pretty good.
Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, LSU. It was quite an affair, and it was jam packed.
Right. So at that time too, you're still keeping contact with Connecticut. And you're taking advantage of some of the Southern hospitality and the prices of cigarettes. Is that correct?
Oh,
or is that a little later?
That was.
Do I have my timeline all screwed up?
That was. Yes, you do.
Okay.
Because that was after I came back. I was living in Connecticut.
Okay.
I was going to Central Connecticut State College, and we were going down to Florida on Easter break. And the way I used to finance the trip is at that time the cigarettes in North Carolina were really cheap.
Right. I think they still
really
are.
Cheap. Really cheap.
Right.
$1.50 a carton.
Holy Christ.
And up here they were almost like $5 a carton.
Right.
So what I would do is take orders ahead of time.
So you're almost like Henry Hill too in Goodfellas, where he was doing that as a kid.
Yeah, right. I would take orders ahead of time. How much you want to get. So I could. My trip to Florida for the week was $75.
Nice.
I was just living on the floor. We
Right.
share a room with about 6 guys, But what I would do is, not on the way down, but on the way back, pick up all these cigarettes, deliver them to the people that got pre-orders, and I bought extras.
Right.
As I used to stand around the student center, at that time we'd have cigarette machines. And I was in this big fatigue jacket, and I had different brands of cigarettes, and they were 50 cents, and somebody was going to buy cigarettes, and I said, got him here for 30 cents.
So you're like a ticket scalper at not at will call, but at the ticket agency, like Yankee Stadium, being like, "What are you buying those tickets for? I can give you. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah,
shit."
well, I'm scalping for less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's wow. That's how long did that go on for?
As long as I had the cigarettes.
How many trips did you make? Just
Probably done that. I did that about 3 times.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, still enough.
Yeah,
for,
it worked out.
I guess it's not illegal, is it?
Oh yeah.
It is.
Illegal.
Oh,
yeah, it was illegal.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
It's still illegal.
All right. Okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
Because I know I wasn't the owner, because the other guys with me, we'd have our trunk filled up with cartons of cigarettes.
Nice.
Basically what happened in the 70s and the 80s after that was the mafia was doing that.
Right, yeah, like Henry Hill.
When New York used to raise their taxes so high.
Right.
Then they probably still do.
Yeah, that's true. So at some point after all of that, I just went, this is a random event you always like to, you've mentioned to me a few times. You're living in Florida again, and we're always thinking about what's out there. You said you saw, did you see a UFO?
I did. At least I thought I did.
Were you under the influence of anything?
Well, I just happened to have I was smoking a little marijuana.
There we go.
That's what it's called.
Yeah,
but
police will listen to this.
I swear it was there.
Yeah?
I was sitting there watching All in the Family, laying on my couch, and I could look out the window. There was the western sky, which was basically over the Everglades in Fort Lauderdale.
So you're in Fort Lauderdale.
And this light that looked like a floodlight you would see in the sky. You know what floodlights are?
Yeah, I know what floodlights are.
Oh,
I'm not 5 years
old.
old.
The ones that, like when they have
I know.
the fair.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Well, it was there. It stopped, and then it started. Then it went up, and then it went down. And I just stood there frozen. And,
did you lose track of time?
No, I didn't have a close encounter.
Okay.
But it just... It appeared to me that's what it was.
So on record, if someone says, "Do you believe in UFOs?"
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
And I wasn't the only person, because it was reported.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes it a little more legitimate.
But it was explained at that time as swamp gas.
The old swamp gas or weather balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that bullshit.
But I saw another one in Fort Lauderdale. This was, but nobody believes you when you see it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was laying at the pool in Fort Lauderdale. This was about 10 years ago.
Oh, this was quite recently.
Yeah, and I wasn't stoned.
Okay, got it.
I was just laying there, and I'm looking up at the sky, laying near the pool, and you saw what looked like. In Florida, there's loads of planes,
right?
And especially where I was staying. But this one was way high up. I mean, it had to be, compared to other things, it looked like almost a star, but this was daytime.
Right.
And it was going by. I said, it's just a high-flying plane. It's probably not landing in Florida. It's going somewhere else. And then it stopped. And then it went down. And then it went up. And I just stood and looked. And I told your mother. She said I was nuts.
Right.
So that's basically it. But
that's
those things just
unless I don't know if I've ever
I have floaters in my eyes, but they're black.
Right.
White.
I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that, but I fully believe that they do exist. I mean, to think that we're the only beings in the entire universe is a bit
just
arrogant.
The idea that thousands of people see them.
True. That's true. So you're in Florida at the same time, and we won't mention the person's name, but you knew someone who was involved in the drug game too, right?
Yes,
was it a roommate of yours?
It was an ex-roommate, friend, decent person,
right?
Odd in his own right,
right?
But he didn't have any kids or family, and just to make extra money, he sold drugs.
Right.
This was during the what do you call it? Tony
Montana?
Tony Montana.
Scarface,
That time, that time.
And you're in Florida. So you're over there once. I mean, he must have been a little more than just a little-time drug dealer when you went over there. And what you heard his wife screaming at him about what?
Yeah, she was saying, so-and-so, are you crazy? You wrote a check to Pablo Escobar? And he goes, yeah, I must have been high. I don't know why I did that.
What was in the memo of the check? Drugs?
Yeah, I don't think he wrote a memo down, but just writing a letter to Pablo was kind of little
I can't
weird.
imagine him really dealing with that many checks, but if you're willing to write a check to him, then you got to be doing some sort of business with him. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, I don't think he met him personally. It was just probably another one of his other people.
Right. I'm sure he had
But
many
it
minions.
was, he did well. He did well, yes. And he doesn't do that anymore.
Right.
I haven't seen him in several years, but I think he gave that business up, even though he does have 2 houses in Florida.
Well, maybe he did very well.
Yeah, he did well for But it was tough living there for him. I know it was tough because I was over his house and there was a gun in his cushions. He built a steel door in his house.
That's completely normal
because other drug dealers were trying to break in.
God.
And he always had a gun on him.
Right.
But he would never hurt anybody.
Right.
He was just a drug dealer.
Right.
And he was a good one. He had one of our friends was getting a little too high on cocaine, the habit was bad, and he wouldn't sell to her anymore. So.
No, it's a drug dealer with morals. That's hard to find.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's a lot of them. It's just business.
That's true because if you don't have morals, you let them die, you lose a customer.
That's right.
So, we got a half hour in here, so let's just sort of wrap it up here. What do you think about the Yankees going forward here? Now, well, actually, forget that. Let me ask you this because you've been following the Yankees for a long time. Who's the best Yankee you've seen in your life, in your opinion?
In my opinion, probably Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle. You and Francesa on that same.
It's hard. I was. All the years that I watched, except for his last couple of years, obviously he didn't have it, but he'd always come through. It seemed
right.
It was, of course, that was the Yankees at the time. That was my. I think I mentioned this to you.
Go ahead.
That one time when I was a little boy, watching the Yankees with my father and my uncle.
And your father was not a Yankee fan.
No, he was Brooklyn Dodgers and Red Sox.
Okay.
And we were watching...
2 losers, huh?
Yeah.
He really could pick them.
Yeah. He died before the Red Sox ever won. He did live to see the Reds. He died the year after the Dodgers won.
Oh, so you got to see that.
Yeah, so that was something. But watching that game, I remember Elston Howard making this great play. He was a rookie that year. Running in from almost... running for some pop fly that the first baseman couldn't find, and he almost got to first base and made a great catch. But what is happening, though, they were losing. I think it was to the Red Sox, too.
Yeah.
They were losing, and I start crying and because they were losing. And my father said to me, don't worry about these goddamn bastards come back every time. And they did, and it was just great. And it was ever since then, it was always, even like now, even though it's hard now, it's hard to believe they'll ever come back when they can't score more than 2 or 3 runs. But
it's rough.
It's tradition, and it happens every once in a while. They do come back, even not this year, not yet. But it's early,
right? Yeah, it was funny. I think Bernie Williams was saying to Yogi Berra once before 2004, like, oh, I don't know. They blew some big lead in the standings, some bullshit, I don't know, and. He's just like, I don't know what to do. And Yogi just said, calm down. These guys have been getting this close for 80 years. We always beat them. It never happens. Don't worry. And I think that year they ended up beating the Red Sox. But obviously, it's changed. Did you have any idea back then that Mickey Mantle was just like this maniac alcoholic? Like, did the public know?
No.
They knew nothing.
No. He was...
He'd be like Johnny Manziel almost, like today, right?
Oh, jeez. Johnny's going to jail.
Yeah, it's a misdemeanor, though. I don't think...
It's a year's...
Is it real?
Misdemeanor with violence.
Oh, that's why I didn't understand why everyone was making a big deal out of it.
Misdemeanor with violence, punishable by a year in jail.
He looks like shit. Have you seen him?
No, I haven't seen him.
He looks like...
There's a guy's life that he's messed up unless he really turns it around, but I don't know.
He looks like a guy that's been, partying, doing a lot of drugs, and he's starting to really show the signs of it, where it's like, all right, that guy does drugs, where you can look at him and see it. He lost so much weight.
Oh, really?
A lot of weight.
Well, he's got no team anymore. Right?
No. He doesn't even have an agent. His agent said, "Do this, or I'm dropping you," and then he didn't do it, so he dropped him. So what was I going to say? So what do you think about the Yankees this year? It's April 29th. No, it's not. It's April 27th, and they look bad. They're going to be starting here in 18 minutes.
I can't see how they'll ever win another game this year.
Yeah, you said that. You said that about the Giants one year, and they ended up. That was the year they beat. You said they wouldn't win one game.
Right.
And they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year.
Right.
That was because you know what? Tiki Barber retired, and you said they're not winning another game next year.
That's what I thought. Yeah, because I thought he was really good, and boy, they lost, and boy, was I off there. But you
got a lot of terrible predictions.
Just almost all of them.
You said America's Funniest Home Video would only last one season. It's still on.
I know that one.
Okay.
I hear that all the time. But let's see. Well, if the Yankees all gel,
right,
they might have some sort of shot. But boy, do they stink right now. I mean, nobody's hitting. I mean, you get your best hitters, Brett Gardner, and Carlos Beltran, who's 39 years old.
Right. It's getting desperate when they sign Swisher and Phil Koch, who are in AAA right now.
I didn't know. I know Swisher was signed. Swisher maybe is. I heard just possibility be coming up, replace A-Rod or.
No, A-Rod's playing tonight.
Oh, he is. Oh, so
Mike assured us yesterday he was going to be okay because Mike knows.
Because I heard it last night. I didn't listen to the games because I was watching Happy Valley.
Right. Happy Valley BBC shows I've recommended several times on the podcast. So
watch it. I was binge watching the last 2 days.
Oh, that's okay. So, all right. So I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. Before you go, like every guest, I have 3 questions for you. You ready?
Okay, I got the answers.
All right. Number 1, who will win the U.S. presidency?
Sorry to say. Hillary Clinton.
Okay, so I think you could start that sentence, and depending on who you are, I think most people it could go either way. Saying,
and I'll probably vote for it.
Yeah, I think I probably will too.
It's going to be a hold your nose, but
yeah.
And if she starts yelling at me, I don't know if those Nehru jackets she's wearing catch on. Maybe that'll be the thing now.
And the old fashioned will start here. Second question. Was the moon landing real?
Oh.
Because keep in mind, no one's been there in 40 years, and we're the only country to go.
That's true. I believe it was.
I probably
I remember the day it happened.
Yeah, what day was it?
It was in August.
No, it was July. End of July.
Okay. I was doing my summers in Lake George River.
Okay. I think it was like July 29th, 1969.
It was in the evening.
Okay.
It was because I was doing second shift. I was a dishwasher.
Right.
And we were all waiting. We were all hoping they'd find some weird people on there.
Right.
But got nothing.
Jeez. Really? So that's what everyone was hoping? Like, sort of like...
yeah. I mean,
really?
Jeez.
That they were just going to go there and there's just going to be this community descending on them?
Find something instead of dust?
Just jumping around and having a big party. And I guess I asked you the third question already, but I'll ask it again. Will the Yankees make the playoffs? Right now. Forget, don't give me if. Okay.
No.
They won't even get to the play-in game like they did last year.
No. I think I'll have my July won't be occupied sitting up on the deck listening to them.
You won't be.
I give up in the middle of July.
You'll be that excited for the Giants football to start.
Oh God, yeah, that's
new coach this year.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Ben McAdoo.
That would be good. Now I'd like to see the Yankees win, and I'm hoping they turn around. I hope every game until July. I learned that during the '80s when you were growing up.
Yeah.
Mid-July, there was it was over.
Hopefully it won't be over because the Yankees are. It's early now, but we'll see. We'll have to see.
Oh, yeah. 4 games out, 5 games out.
Yeah, in reality, they play like shit, and they're really only 4 or 5 games out. So, all right. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
It was great. It was great.
We'll have to have you on again.
Yeah, and next time televise it.
It'll be a video
televised podcast.
Exactly. It'll show us here in the living room.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
So there it was, an interview, an evening, a conversation with my father. What other podcast on the planet are you going to find running cigarettes up the Eastern Coast and checks to Pablo Escobar and, I want to see the podcast where all that shit is in the same place. I don't think it can happen. So I want to thank my father, who was a great guy, for coming on, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. So if you want to hear this and more from all sorts of people from all walks of life, Remember to listen on iTunes, TuneIn, Radio, Stitcher, and YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. Quickest way to get any of the shows is to subscribe to all those venues, and if you subscribe, be sure to leave a 5-star rating wherever you do it, because it really does help the show get more exposure, and I can't ask you enough, and I really appreciate everyone listening. So I'm going to say, with all that being said, I am out of here.